Yes. So, in order to grow as people, we first have to realize that we're capable of growing and that we're the ones in control. And that's a big challenge for a lot of people. A lot of people, even though they'll say they believe in free will and they don't believe in determinism, they still when you tell them, hey, you don't have to think that way, you don't have to be depressed, or you don't have to act that way. Well, my mom did, or my dad did, or oh, I've done this forever, or oh, they did this to me, that means I have to, right? So the first thing we need to learn is that we can grow, and to do that, we need to be willing to open our minds to new concepts, because if we aren't willing to change, and if we aren't willing to explore new ideas that we haven't explored before, then we can't grow as people. That's just a simple fundamental fact of expansion. You can't do something new you've never done before if you don't become something you've never been before. So the concept that I really want to share with you guys today, there was a lot of stuff, but I wasn't sure what the audience here was going to be like. It was all ages, so I thought there might be some children here, so I modified my workshop, and I'm just going to stick with that now, because I know I'm currently in a 3-month trial coaching with Ankush, and I'm expecting I'm probably just going to keep going on for at least another year after that. So an hour isn't going to get us a whole lot in here, but we'll do the best we can. That's all I got the first time I got with him. So basically there's these 3 principles as far as how the mind works. And that's exactly what they're called. It's the 3 principles. And they've been around in psychology in this form since about 1970. And this whole concept I'm going to be sharing with you guys is known within psychological circles as the best kept secret in psychology since 1970. It's incredibly powerful, and I'm surprised I never came across it before, because now that I've become immersed in it, I'm finding there's practitioners all over the world that are sharing this. Some of them are world renowned, some of them are doing TED Talks that you can look up, that I can share names and things with you, 10-15 minutes and blow your mind. And others are best-selling authors, like the man who taught Ankush. His name's Jamie Smart, and he's a best-selling author. He's got on several #1 lists on Amazon, and I believe the New York Times as well. And his book is called Clarity. He's also got a new one out called The Little Book of Clarity, which is a little more condensed, less of the stories, more get to the point, but also some new concepts. So if you're really enjoying what I'm sharing with you and you want to delve deeper into it, there's a lot of other sources that I can direct you to. I know myself, I'm going to be going to pick up the Little Book of Clarity while I'm in town, because there's no bookstores in my town at all. But basically, I wish I had a big easel with a writing pad, but there's 3 ways of looking at the world and how we think and how we experience it. You can look at the world and you can say, my thoughts and my feelings are a product of what I experience. And everything that goes on around me, my environment, that's what causes me to think and feel the way I feel. You can also look at it as, well, my feelings only ever come from my thoughts and nothing else. My thoughts come from what I experience for sure, but the feelings I experience are directly a result of those thoughts. And if I experience something but I think something differently, my feelings would be completely different. Or you can look at it and say, well, it's a combination of the two. It's a little bit of column A, it's a little bit of column B. yeah, of course I have the ability to change what I'm thinking about, and that really helps, and I no longer feel like that. But sometimes things just happen, and no matter what I think, I'm going to feel bad. And sometimes things happen, no matter what I try and think, I'm going to feel good. And so when we look into it more, what we've realized and what people all around the world have realized, and all fundamental teachings point to the exact same thing, is that the only one that's actually true is the one in the middle, is that it's always coming from what we're thinking about all the time. Moment to moment, as we live, as we experience life, the thoughts that we think are what give us the feelings we experience. And we have the power to control our thoughts. Sometimes it's more difficult. Sometimes it takes more effort. Sometimes it's not instantaneous. But we always have the power to control our thoughts and direct them. And by doing that, we can choose how we feel. It is very difficult to just choose to be happy when you're thinking negative thoughts. You can't do it. It's impossible. But if you choose to think positive thoughts, you can't help but be positive and feel happy. A great example of this is the airplane analogy. So you're sitting in an airport and you're coming back from a trip, and your plane's about to arrive, and you're waiting, and you're looking at your watch, and you're thinking about all the things you need to do, and you got to get home, and when you get home there's this and there's that and the other thing. And then suddenly there's an announcement that says, oh, your plane has been delayed. Your plane is late, and they've experienced some issues, and they had to pull over, they had to turn around. Doesn't really matter what the course is. They ended up not showing up on time. And now you start having thoughts. And you look around, and there's an entire waiting room full of people. And you can tell they're all having thoughts as well. And some of them are thinking, oh, this is wonderful. This is great. I get to stay in Mexico a little bit longer, and, I don't know when the next plane is, and you know what? It's late, it's not going to be till tomorrow. They're going to put us up in a hotel, get to have another great night in Mexico, and I don't have to go back to work tomorrow. This is awesome. And other people are thinking, oh my God, are you kidding me? I've got to get back to work tomorrow. Do you have any idea how much stuff I've got to do? The emails are coming in, and somebody else is going, oh man, I've got to go back to work tomorrow, and there's a lot of emails coming in, but hey, at least I don't have to see them till the next day. This is great. There's somebody else going, oh no, I don't get to see the kids. And everyone's having different thoughts. And I don't know if you've ever experienced something like that, but I know I've been in a lot of situations where I just lost my shit entirely, and I would just lose it, and I used to have huge anger problems, and still they come out from time to time. Like yesterday, I really had a hard time controlling myself, and I stopped even trying to control myself because I felt justified in my anger, and I started and so, I was experiencing an issue with a coworker who, it's their job to do something, and they're not doing it. And so I'm pushing, and I'm trying to get them to do this, and oh my God, and you don't understand, and oh, my manager should handle this, I shouldn't have to do this, and I lost it. And I went home, and I still did the things that I'd planned on doing, which was hard, because I didn't want to, but I've developed more self-control to be able to do those things and be motivated, because I kept my eye on the focus on what those things would do for me. Now, I didn't do everything I wanted to do because I lost some of that motivation, but I at least did more than 50%, so that was good. Now, today when I woke up, which I woke up late because I wasn't motivated to get up, because I was tired, because I've been pushing myself very hard and I felt justified in all these things, I had a hard time. And thoughts were still going through my head, and I tried to control them as best as I could and direct them as I could. So I thought about things that would allow me to do that in constructive ways. And when I felt certain things, I would go, oh, I'm feeling this way, why? Because I'm having this thought. It's causing me to think this, which is causing me to feel this. Okay, so if I change that and I think this in that way. So rather than being stuck in this, as I'm driving here, I have over a 3-hour drive from where I live to get here. I'm listening to some of these audiobooks from Ankush, talking to some other people, and they're talking about relationships and how to relate with people better. And they're talking about how this works with every type of relationship, whether it's with a loved one, whether it's with a husband, a wife, co-workers, your kids. It just doesn't matter what it is. This helps, and I tell you, it helps with yourself. After I came back from Vegas, I had to start doing this new computer program they put into our business, and for a long time there, I was still going through the growth of developing my understanding of this, and I just was losing on this computer system. I wanted to break the fucking thing all the time. And I talk to people now, and it's terrible. And I go, you know what? I understand how you feel. I used to feel the same way. But what I found was, it was all about me. I was getting frustrated at myself because I couldn't do this because I felt that. And I thought, oh, if I did this. And so it becomes a matter of you trace back these thoughts to their original source. And once you can identify that, you can change how you feel. I'm driving here and I'm thinking, God, Kurt, man, you just help me out. It's not my job to figure out the planning of when that thing should go. All I need is for it to this 15-second ad to fall sometime between this time and that time. I don't care when or how or what you do to do it. Just figure it out somehow. This is a $28,600 a year contract. If I lose it, now I've got to go out and find more people. Well, why don't I just go find more people anyways? Oh, so if I could do that, oh my God, whoa, I'm doing it again. Okay, so what's really the problem here? Really the problem here is that I don't feel I can just focus on what I'm doing and give off these jobs for other people because I don't trust them. Well, who can I trust? I should be able to trust my manager. She's the one who I should be able to oversee this. Well, in the past, she has not lived up to those expectations. So instead, what I have to do is I have to have a conversation with her about the fact that when I give her things that are within her purview, I need to be able to trust her. And if I can trust her, I won't have these thoughts and I won't take these responsibilities on myself, which are not my responsibility, because I don't have the authority to do them. And there's a fundamental principle that if you have the responsibility to do something, you must be given the authority to accomplish it. And if you do not have the authority to accomplish something, you cannot be given the responsibility to accomplish it. Now, just because you have the authority does not mean you have the responsibility. However, we like to think that if we have the authority, we should take it upon ourselves to live up to our highest sense of purpose and do so if we can. But the biggest thing is that if someone does not give you the authority to accomplish something, it cannot ever be your responsibility. Yet very frequently, people give us responsibilities, but they don't give us the authority to accomplish those tasks. I expect you to do this. Great, well, let me do that. Let me tell this person. Well, you don't have the authority to tell that person. Well, you go to that person and they say, well, you don't have the authority to tell me that. Who do you think you are? You're not my boss. Right? So at that point you go, well, you're right, I'm not your boss. So now I either have to have a conversation with my boss, who's your boss, and tell them, look, it is actually your responsibility, or you now need to go talk to this person. You have to give me the authority to accomplish this task. You have to let everyone know this task is within their authority. And if it is not, then it is not my task. Once I trace this all back, weight lifted, oh, okay. Put it in the calendar, Monday morning, follow up with my boss. Done. Bam. Instantly joy.
Can you give another or an example of
Of course. So here's the one that's on my mind at the moment because Motion Notion's coming up. Anyone Motion Notion fans here?
Yes. Of course.
So I don't know if any of you guys, I know some of you guys have been involved in setup and takedown before, and some of you guys know me from working there. This will be my 5th year working there, and the very first year I worked there, I realized there was a lot of things that were falling through the cracks because James has not given the authority to anyone to accomplish those tasks. And so I said, James, I would love to help you with those. He said, okay, great, well, your first year, blah, 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 kind of brushed me off. Well, the next year I came back and I said, James, and we were following up ahead of time, James, I can help you supervise people. I can help you run this better. Let me handle that. Okay, sure. The other guy, he's not handling that. He's the supervisor, but he's not doing it. Okay, sure, you can supervise people. Great. So I show up expecting that he's going to tell everyone. Well, he didn't. So I start telling people, well, James has made me a supervisor. Well, no one told us. You're not a supervisor. You're just another volunteer. How much do you make? I make the same as you. Okay, do you have a badge? No. Well, no one told us. You don't have a badge. You don't have anything. No one said, hey guys, this is James, this is the organizer, hey, this is Zoltan, this is the guy who runs the vendors and who does this and this and that, this is Todd, he runs main stage setup, and this is Riley, and he handles volunteer coordination and job distribution and runs little work crews around the place. When James isn't around and Todd's not around, listen to Riley. That was never said. So I fought and I battled and I ended up in all kinds of really unpleasant conversations. Eventually I just gave up and I went, fuck it. And lots of unproductive situations occurred. Tons of money was spent doing things that shouldn't have happened because no one was listening to my expertise in the things that I have expertise in. So then the next year I said, James, look, you've got to change this. You've got to give me control. You've got to give me authority. And he asked me to do more things. I want you to run the generators. You've got to make sure the gas is in the generators so that they don't burn out and the entire festival doesn't fall apart. Do you understand the responsibility I'm giving you? Yes, I sure do. Okay, I'm going to give you the keys to the truck. You got to do this. You got to do that. Great. He gave me authority for that. But then other things he didn't give me the authority for. Came back again. Work crews. Hey guys, you got to listen to me. I'm not going to listen to you. Who do you think you are? Again, last year, it got a little bit better because now my reputation's getting a little bit better and a couple people know me. So they tell the other people, no, you actually do have to listen to him. He actually is running stuff. Well, now that I've got more understanding of responsibility and authority, I've said to James, look, you need to give me a badge. You need to give me one of those little lanyard cards that says Riley Volunteer Coordinating Supervisor or something like that. When I show up on site Monday morning, if he doesn't do it, I'm doing it. Hey guys, everyone gather round. We're doing introductions. This is Zoltan. This is Todd. I'm Riley. This is what I do. I got a little badge. You don't like what I say? Hit the fucking bricks. Get out of here. Because if you're not listening to me, you're not doing your job. You're here to work for me. Because I have the authority. So does Todd. Todd's got far more years of experience than me. I defer to Todd. But when I take people off and I do little work crews around the place, they listen to me. I don't give a shit who comes around unless it's James. When James walks away, I usually know better than James on a few things, so no, ignore him. Listen to me. James is all crazy and he goes off on his rants. Just ignore him. Listen to me. And having that authority now gives me the responsibility, and now people will listen to me. If I don't get that, sorry James, if you've not given me the authority, I cannot be responsible for these people. I cannot be responsible for these jobs being completed on time, and I will not accept your anger towards these tasks not being completed because you've not given me the authority. It's not my job. It's now your job. Your job is the one responsible to make sure the wood's chopped because you didn't give me the authority. Right?
So are you speaking to actually vocalizing as well? Is that kind of what you're rounding to get to?
How do you mean exactly?
We keep going.
No, what do you mean by vocalizing?
By saying
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that person needs to take responsibility for not in the first place.
Yeah, things need to be very clearly communicated between people, and if they're not, it's an expectation. What's much more powerful, and it's harder on a social level, but especially on a work level. And there's social agreements we have. You know, I'm going to try not to cut you off while we talk. Sometimes it might happen, and I'm sorry about that. But for the most part, we have social contracts that we agree to. Forms of just, you know, I'm not going to walk up and punch you in the face, Mike. Just not going to do it, you know. If I walk up and punch you in the face, you're probably going to punch me back, you know, right? And but these are unwritten agreements. But when it comes to work, we need to vocalize these things a lot more. And in relationships, especially, you know, romantic relationships with our kids, we need to make these things very clear. We need to, look, I'm going to give you the job of making sure that your room is clean. And when I come home, I expect, and again, the language, get rid of expectations. When I come home, I would like your room to be clean, because that will make it so that I don't have to come to you and ask you to do it. And that'll make you happy.
Negative response over it.
Right? And then, do you agree to that? If you will agree to keeping your room clean at these times, that I know you're going to have fun and you're going to play, but when I ask you to clean it, will you clean it within a reasonable period of time? And you have to set what that time is. You know, do you agree to that? And if they agree to that, then you say, great. And yeah, and people hold themselves accountable. People love to hold themselves accountable. We live up to our own word. Even thieves live up to their own word. Honor among thieves. You know, thieves will steal and they'll lie and they'll cheat and they'll kill people. But there's certain agreements that they have. Look, we're going to go rob a bank and we're going to split it 50-50. Agreed? Agreed. Now, if the one guy tries to cut the other guy out and any other thief hears about that, that guy's an outcast. Doesn't matter that he's breaking the law. He's an outcast. You broke your word. And the wonderful thing is, once you made an agreement with somebody, you can come back to them, and if they break their agreement, you come back and you say, look, you agreed to this. Did you remember agreeing to that? I sure do. Okay, great. So, when you agreed to it, did you intend to do it? Yeah. Okay, so why didn't you do it? Blah, blah, blah. Okay, that's something else. We can find that. But when you agreed to it, did you intend to do it? Well, you know, kinda. Not really. I mean, I figured I might not. Okay, well then, in the future, when you realize that there's something that you may or may not do, or you probably won't do it, do you agree to not give me your word if you will not live up to it? If you're uncertain, just tell me, you know, I'm not sure. I'll try, but I can't agree to definitely doing that. And then you've now agreed that they're going to tell you the truth and they're going to be honest with you. And if they don't, you know, and again, things happen, right? You know, it's a growth process. But if it happens over and over again, I've got a coworker that has happened over and over again, and I've started using the agreement versus expectation conversation with them. And I say, you know, look, you've agreed to this. Okay, you know, and it doesn't happen. I go, and we've done this over and over again. And I had to tell my boss, look, I do not feel that he should work with us anymore. I really like the guy. He's a nice guy. But we cannot trust him. He does not keep his own word. I don't care if he's lazy or if he does whatever. If he's trying his best, that's fine. But if he's going to tell me, you know what, I just don't feel like doing it. Okay, that's one thing. But if you tell me you're going to do it, you promise you're going to come back after doing that and you'll finish this other job, and you don't do that, well, that's a whole nother problem. You can't trust a person like that. So, so that's a little bit about agreements versus expectations, and they're really powerful in relationships, in work, and in any situation where you're having conflict with people, where certain things are really challenging, and you really want to just get them improved. You can't use them all the time. You can't use them in certain conversation with friends. I tried to have one with a guy here just 2 weeks ago, and he wasn't having it. Now, I didn't have the language at that time because I hadn't come across this, and Kush hadn't taught it to me, but he afterwards, when I did listen to this audio that Ankush had given me like 2-3 days after this conversation, and I'm having a coaching call with Ankush, I go, man, I really wish I'd heard this audio before I had this conversation with this guy, because we were really clashing, and I wanted him to just listen to what I was saying and not keep cutting me off. I'd get 5 words into a sentence, and I told him, hey, I just want to tell you this one thing. Do you mind listening to this? And he'd say, oh yeah, let me hear it. So I get 5 words in, and no, well, what about this? Just let me finish the sentence first. It'll answer itself. Well, no, you got to explain this first. Okay, so explain. And I'd start again. Oh, wait about that. What about this? Just let me finish. Can you just can you agree to that? And he wouldn't agree to it. And Ankush said, well, in social contracts, you can't always get people to agree. It's unreasonable. That's just how social things are. Your friendship doesn't really work like a business. But there's other ways of doing it. And the wonderful thing is when somebody agrees, when someone's telling you they refuse to have what you're trying to communicate with them, and they won't follow whatever kind of guidelines you have for just a reasonable relationship that makes you feel comfortable, you can agree to disagree, and you can walk away. You can say, you know what? I love you, I respect you as a person, and I really enjoy conversations with you, but when they go in this direction, or maybe even just at this moment, sometimes I enjoy conversations where we're cutting each other off and we're working together to come with, yeah, feeding off each other, and it's synergistic. Yeah, but at the moment I'm not feeling it synergistic because I'm trying to express something, and we're not synergizing.
Negativity is just killing it.
Yeah, but this is my problem, so I'm going to choose to walk away right now, and you can do that. And again, this comes from realizing our thinking in the moment, because we become aware of our feelings. So feelings are a wonderful thing, and when I've taught some people about this concept, because I'm still new to expressing it, they've got the impression, well, oh, so your feelings are bad. Oh, you're feeling angry. Well, and people have these thoughts already because, anger is a bad thing, or sadness is a bad thing. I shouldn't feel sad, I shouldn't feel angry. No. They're wonderful. That's why we evolved them. We wouldn't have Exactly. I mean, we developed these things for a reason. They didn't come about by accident. They're biological advantages. They give us the ability to navigate social terrain better. They're new to us because we didn't have the social kind of conduct that we now have until as recent as about 100,000 years ago or so.
Lets you know what's acceptable or unacceptable to you as a person, and also what's acceptable and unacceptable in society.
Yeah, because you get that feeling of, I'm doing something wrong. I'm feeling guilty. Why am I feeling guilty? Why am I feeling angry? I mean, there's a million reasons. You can feel angry for 20 different things. You can feel guilty for 20 million different things. And so there's no clear-cut thing. You can't write out, when I first came across this, I went, well, that's wonderful. I'm just going to write up a cheat sheet for myself so that whenever I start feeling angry, I flip it up and open and I go, anger. Oh, that means I'm thinking this. I need to change that to this. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. It's completely circumstantially dependent. I'm feeling unmotivated right now. I don't want to do this. And we'll come back to that in a moment. I want something that... give me 30 seconds. I got to grab a jacket. Come on, door. Yes, I've got a lot of crap in my backpack, I know. If you see me at Motion Notion, that backpack has everything in it. Come ask me, I always have what you need. Sometimes not that, but I used to. That was how I learned I didn't act for sales, actually. So, come here. So, when I talk about your thoughts and feeling your thinking, I don't just mean the words that you think, the little voice in your head, the, you know, what a jerk, oh my god, I can't believe you did that, you know, that kind of thing. What you're experiencing right now is thinking, everything. Your sense of cold, your sense of, you know, your relation to your feelings, you know, your anxiety over what you might be forgetting or what you're trying to get to. I know I'm frequently late to things, as today, and and at first when I started getting into this, I'd go, oh, great, well, I'm having these thoughts of I'm late, and you know, I'd chuckle sometimes because one of my favorite movies of all time is Alice in Wonderland, and you know, the little rabbit, and I'd always just crack up because, you know, that rabbit, he's just I'm late, you know, and I go, oh shit, that's me, and it would start popping in my head, and I go, oh, okay, well, I just gotta think, you know, it doesn't matter if I'm late getting there, you know, when I get there, this or that. Last time I was coming to town, I got a ticket because I was going too fast, and I realized that all I had to think to no longer speed, so that I no longer get tickets, is even if I am late, what anxiety was I instead experiencing by thinking about, well, if I just go 5 kilometers faster, if I go 10 kilometers faster, now that means I'm going 120 kilometers instead of 110, so that means I'm going 2 kilometers every minute. So that means that if I'm driving and I've got 264 kilometers left to go, so that's 132 minutes, so that's 2 hours, and, you know, like fucking ridiculous thoughts. So, and I'd like, no, I seriously, that's what I'd think the whole way there, and I'd passing sides, and I'm going, okay, well, what if I'm going 125? Now what's the math? What if I'm going 115? Oh, I got to go around this corner. I'd slow down to 80 kilometers. Well, how much does that affect me? Like, holy shit. And so these thoughts were causing me extreme anxiety. So great, I stopped the thoughts. So on the way here, I'm no longer experiencing these thoughts. But I still was experiencing low-level anxiety because I knew I had wanted to be here around 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, and I didn't